Namaskar, Hari Om. Thank you for being here. In SangamTalks, in the last 10 years, we complete 10 years on 4th of Jan 2026. We've organized over 100 events in the last 10 years. This is our first large event. Why this conference? What was the trigger for us? Was Modi ji is probably the first Prime Minister in independent India who's given us audacious goals. $3 trillion, $5 trillion, third largest economy, and now a Viksit Bharat. At the same time, all the indicators and the signals that we hear are about economic indicators for a Viksit Bharat in 2047. So, हमारे मन में सवाल था कि क्या economic indicators are they suffice? क्या $13,500 per capita per annum, is that suffice? Should that be the only indicator, or should there be more to what a Viksit Bharat looks like? कुछ सवाल थे मेरे मन में. Will we, in 2047, will stone pelting on Ram Navami Shobha Yatras stop? Will the Indian church stop soul harvesting and try and change demography of India? Will the state defend freedom of speech? It's very easy to criticize the Manusmriti, Ram, now even Tulsi Ramayan. Will I have the freedom to criticize Muhammad without having my sar tan se juda? Will doctrines such as secularism continue to influence all state policy? What does a decolonized state look like? There's been a lot of conversation around decolonization. What does the decolonized state look like? What is decolonization? I was at a conference and somebody, there was a sannyasi before me, a kathavachak, and he said that जब तक हम ऐसे कपड़े पहनेंगे तब तक हम decolonize नहीं हो सकते. So decolonization is not about what we wear. Decolonization is about the lens with which we look at ourselves. Let's look at Ayurveda. We have Dr. Ram Kumar here, who runs one of the best Ayurveda hospitals in the country. And I learned a lot of this from him and his Vedyas when I go to Vaidyagrama. Ayurveda derives from Sankhya, which basically is everything is consciousness. The body, this body is energy manifested. It's a Jivatma. It's made of Pancha Mahabhuta. It has Vata, Pitta, Kapha as Tridosha. When in a unique being this goes out of balance, that causes disease, and hence there has to be personalized medicine for every being. What are we doing right now? We are actually going down the rabbit hole of drug to disease, which is actually a modern medicine concept. There is a heart problem, you have cholesterol, you have BP, take this medicine, it will control that. Because that is a reductionist idea and breaks the body down into parts. Ayurveda does not look at this being, this body like that. Then there is this whole push for evidence-based medicine, which again is a modern medicine framework. Ayurveda does not look at curing, and this I learned from Vaidya Ramkumar here, that modern medicine cures the disease. Ayurveda cures the being with the disease. The disease cures itself if you cure the being. Then the standardized protocols and treatments based on large-scale clinical trials. This model does not fit Ayurveda because it's personalized medicine. You'll have to come up with different ways. Please, happily, by all means, measure the success of things like Ayurveda. But the epistemology, knowledge systems for doing that testing has to be from within that knowledge system. You can't use a different knowledge system and apply its principles to validating another totally different knowledge systems. You can judge it to be right or wrong and all of that, but when you want to do tests, you'll have to apply Ayurveda's own knowledge systems, own testing methodologies to see whether the medicine form is working or no. Let's look at our education system and in the context of how the economy is structured. Economics' view of man is that man is an economic unit and knowledge is utilitarian. It is actually a way of ensuring that there is economic output per person, which is why there is so much push for getting women into the work stream, and so on and so forth. And that's a measure under some international goals for how the world should be. And what this does is it asks for standardized education for all. So fishes can be asked to climb trees, monkeys can be asked to swim, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, there's a pyramid of priorities. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that's at the top of the hierarchy of this pyramid of education. Then come social sciences, and then come arts, which means that dancers are the most disregarded people in society, and this is a global phenomenon. There's a gentleman called, educationist called Ken Robinson. He has a wonderful TED talk on this topic. This is not only an India problem, it's a global problem, simply because we've exactly the same systems of looking at ourselves, of our education system is a global pattern at this point in time. And what does this lead to? Unhappiness, mediocrity. We know that we are a mediocre nation at this point in time. We were an absolutely fantastic civilization which built the Kailasnath temple, cut a rock from top to bottom, 5 layers. You can't do that even today with CAD/CAM drawings and all of that. Mind-blowing how we achieved that. And that is a sign of an excellent civilization which pursues excellence. And no excellent, such a civilization can be split into Jativad endlessly, where Shudras are considered the tuch people who are not worthy of education and whatever things we are taught. No civilization can produce that, because the Brahmins were not sitting and chiseling rocks away from that. It was Shudras, if you like. We complain about low TFR. You have it here. This is the reason for low TFR. You have a declining population globally, and there is a correlation that I've tried to draw up here of why we have low TFR, including in the Hindu population. Just quick indicators for you. For population stability, you need 2.1 TFR. Jains in India are at 1.2, Sikhs at 1.6. Overall, Hindus together are probably 1.9, way below replacement rate. So we are a declining civilization and population. What does a decolonized, perhaps an Indianized, if we were to reimagine education, how would we do it? We would say man is divine, knowledge is divine, and each person has unique abilities and interests which comes from the karmic, forward from karma, from the law of karma that we carry forward together. So each Jivatma is on a unique journey and carries forward likes and dislikes. Happiness would be an indicator, not economic output. If you go here, economic output is the key indicator for success for man. In an Indic view, happiness and excellence would be an indicator, while money would be a byproduct. This would also ensure that you have customized and diversified systems of teaching. Apprenticeship, for example. We always learned Vedyas. Ram Kumarji is from 3rd, 4th generation. All the Vedyas in his hospital are 3rd, 4th generation Vedyas. They learn from their grandfathers and great-grandfathers and fathers, and they learn when they can do a Nadi Pariksha when they are probably 8 and cure people when they are 12. But what are we doing right now? We go through an education system, and until we are 21 or 22, we are not even worthy of earning a single rupee and being valuable to society. And had we followed an Indian system of education, perhaps we would have pursuit of excellence, a lot more happiness in society, higher TFR, and wealth as a byproduct. Let's look at some constitutional ideas which are, in my view, colonized. The Constitution accords equal treatment to all religions, notwithstanding the values that they have or the outcomes they deliver in society. Let's look at some Indic value systems. We all Indian-born religions see divinity in all creation. There is no othering at the spiritual level. There may be othering at the material level, at the gross level, but no othering at the spiritual level. We are all one, like nobody else defines it. We are a knowledge-seeking civilization. Knowledge is divine. And there is a respect for all faiths. Even if there is no respect, there is respectful disagreement which leads to debates and discussions. Shastrarth, that was our civilization value. And whoever got defeated in a Shastrarth adopted that philosophy. That was been very common. We know stories of Kumaril Bhatta, Mandan Mishra, Adi Shankaracharya, and many, many thousands more. Let's look at Abrahamic values. My religion is the only true one. It splits the world into believers and infidels. There is a finality of scripture. At least two of the Abrahamic religions which have become problematic is because there is a missionary zeal to convert all global world populations into their idea of religion. These are not equal value systems. So if you treat all religions equal and they have such disparate value systems, I mean, how do you build a country together? Does the Indian state take any effort in Indianizing Indians, on ensuring that the Indian value systems are there and percolated among all Indians? Does it teach these civilization values? Should it not? You know, how culture eats strategy for breakfast. There are books and big business sessions that keep happening on this topic. And so companies, by design, spread a certain culture, certain values among its people. They take huge amount of effort, money, energy in ensuring they have the right culture. And isn't it surprising that nations don't? For us, everything is okay and everybody is equal. I don't know how that works. So this is the trigger for reimagining India in 2047. We call it a Dharmarajya, you can call it a Hindu Rajya, Hindu Rashtra, Ram Rajya. There are all these words that go out there. And people equate that with an exclusivist idea. Oh, now you will become a Hindu Pakistan. That is actually not true. The constitution is what it is because of Hinduism. We carry these values because of the majority population is Hindu. However, I think the state has to change, and perhaps the constitution has to evolve into new ideas. A state that protects, preserves, promotes its homegrown knowledge systems, traditions, cultures, and values. Such a Dharmarajya, how would it look at healthcare differently? How would it teach our children? What would it teach our children? Would it allow more self-governance in communities, in villages, in small talukas? Would it be a less intrusive state? For example, would it allow us to bear weapons? Would it have an opinion in every sexual matter? Would it enter our rooms? Would it do moral compassing on what we do with alcohol or cigarettes or whatever else? Would it define success metrics in what other ways other than economic indicators? And so this is our effort, and we hope to make this a yearly conference, perhaps biannual, including going to states. We want to create a discourse around Dharmic, which is a decolonized view of India in 2047. Of course, you know, SangamTalks, we can't do this alone. And so we work with a lot of Indic Hindu organizations. You can see a lot of them here. And you know that, so the goal is to aggregate, build ideas and build a discourse. And as responsible citizens, Modi ji of course can't build this vision of India, and it's not also good that if one man defines the vision for an entire civilization. So we'll have to engage, and so the idea is to engage with the government and hopefully make this an event which celebrates our culture. We started with Rigvedic chanting. So we see a lot of conclaves by media companies. We thought that how do we make it different? So we wanted to start with Mohit Bharadwaj's Vedic Gurukula, first of its kind in North India. It's all been wiped out, devastated over 700-800 years. So a little bit of bringing them to the fourth. You will see a rock band performance as the evening ends. So all of these are little innovations we are trying to do, and we'll hopefully learn and become better as we go along. Thank you very much.